The prank that broke the family. I'm 25, married to my 30-year-old husband, and we're proud new homeowners in a quiet city neighborhood. My 32-year-old brother and his 31-year-old fiancée, a vibrant woman with a childlike enthusiasm for Halloween and Disney, came to stay with us for the first time. Her quirky personality often charmed people, but it could also lead her to cross boundaries, as we'd soon discover in a way that would fracture our family. She had a habit of commenting on my husband's dark vibe, likening him to brooding characters from her favorite books, romance novels with dragon themes, as I later learned. She framed these as compliments, citing his intense demeanor, striking features, and a single, intricate tattoo on his hand. At first, I brushed it off as her playful eccentricity, but during their visit, her fixation took a troubling turn. She became obsessed with the idea of scaring him, convinced his stoic nature would crack under a well-executed prank. She wanted to hear him scream, something she couldn't imagine from someone so composed. None of us, not even my brother, knew about her plan. One evening, while my husband was out for a run, she set her stage in our dark garage. Dressed in a gold masquerade mask and a hooded cloak, part of my brother's elaborate Halloween costume for a party they'd attend later, she hid in the shadows. When my husband entered, sweaty and unaware, she leapt out, expecting a startled yelp. Instead, his instincts kicked in. He shoved her against the wall, and she hit her head, letting out a cry. Recognizing her voice, he stopped immediately, flicked on the light, and pulled off her mask, confusion replacing his adrenaline. He helped her inside, apologized profusely, and made her tea to calm her nerves. He was shaken but gentle, ensuring she was okay. I was out with my brother at the time, grabbing dinner, when my husband called to explain the bizarre incident. When we returned, I found her sitting on the couch, shaken but unharmed. I didn't mince words. Her prank was reckless, and she was lucky not to be seriously hurt. My husband could have reacted more forcefully, mistaking her for an intruder in the dark. Instead of owning her mistake, she broke into tears, claiming my husband used excessive force and implying he knew it was her and intentionally hurt her. The accusation stunned us. My husband, calm but visibly insulted, asked her directly if she was accusing him of assault. When she hesitated but stuck to her story, he drew a line. If she genuinely believed that, she wasn't welcome in our home. He asked them to leave. I stood by him. Her prank was dangerous, and her accusation felt like a betrayal, twisting his defensive reaction into something malicious. My brother, however, was livid with me. He thought I should have played peacemaker, convincing my husband to apologize further and let them stay. He called me short-sighted, arguing I was jeopardizing their upcoming wedding. But I found his expectations unfair. Why should I side with his fiancée over my husband, especially when she was clearly in the wrong? My brother stayed silent during the confrontation, failing to rein in his fiancée or defend my husband's reasonable reaction. I tried to de-escalate, suggesting we pause the discussion until emotions cooled. But my husband was resolute. He wasn't angry, just firm. Her accusation crossed a line, and he wouldn't tolerate it in our home. I respected his stance, and they left that night. The incident left a rift between us and my brother, who refused to acknowledge his fiancée's role in the mess. Seeking perspective, I shared the story online. The response was overwhelming. People called her prank reckless, noting she was fortunate to escape with just a bump. Some pointed out that in certain places, like Oklahoma or Texas, such an ambush could have led to far worse, like a gunshot. Others speculated she might have a fixation on my husband, given her odd comparisons to romantic, brooding characters. The comments validated our feelings, but they also deepened my unease about her intentions. I showed the thread to my brother, hoping it would open his eyes. My dad, a no-nonsense man, immediately backed my husband, emphasizing the prank's danger and the gravity of false assault accusations. My mom, who's always favored my brother, suggested I hear his fiancée out, which frustrated me. Then I discovered my brother had tried to delete footage from his Tesla's Sentry mode, which captured part of the incident, not the prank itself, but the aftermath. It showed my husband restraining her briefly before helping her up, confirming his restraint and care. This shut down any doubts about his actions. In our family's wedding group chat, I mentioned the footage without sharing it. Her parents, who hadn't known about the prank, were appalled. Eventually, both my brother and his fiancée apologized to my husband and urged us to attend their wedding. My parents, eager to keep the peace, encouraged us to go, framing it as the honorable thing. We agreed, but my husband was clear. We'd attend out of duty, not reconciliation. We canceled plans to host them for the holidays and decided to limit contact with her moving forward. At the wedding, we kept our distance, engaging minimally. During the event, my brother's now wife announced her pregnancy, which softened my parents' stance, especially my mom's, as she anticipated becoming a grandmother. But I remained guarded. Later, a friend revealed disturbing comments my brother's wife had made about my husband, comparing him to a sexy comic book character in a suggestive way. Though said months earlier, it felt like another red flag, reinforcing our decision to go no contact. The prank wasn't just a one-off mistake. It exposed her manipulative tendencies and my brother's refusal to hold her accountable. Our relationship with him feels irreparably strained. I realized he'd chosen her over family long before this incident, a truth I hadn't fully grasped until now. We're done with her drama, prioritizing our peace and my husband's reputation. The baby shower betrayal. I'm married to a man who works away from home, returning every other weekend. We recently bought a spacious house near my parents, perfect for hosting. I love its architecture and the sense of independence it gives me, living alone most of the time. When we hosted a housewarming party, my sister-in-law, Carrie, was particularly enamored, gushing about the space. Though we weren't close, we'd always been cordial, so when she asked to host her baby shower at my house, I agreed without hesitation. Her flattery, combined with my desire to connect and the fact that she was pregnant, made it hard to say no. I threw myself into planning, coordinating catering, decorations, and even taking a day off work. I assumed I'd be part of the event. After all, it was my home, and I'd bought a gift and dressed up for the occasion. Carrie visited often to finalize details, treating me like a partner in the process, which made me look forward to bonding with her. On the day of the shower, I helped set up, ensuring everything was perfect. Carrie arrived an hour early, thanking me warmly and acting friendly. But 15 minutes before guests were due, she casually asked where I'd be spending the next few hours. Confused, I laughed, thinking it was a joke. It was my house. Why wouldn't I stay? But she wasn't kidding. She explained I wasn't on the guest list, as the event was for close family and friends only. She claimed she'd assumed I was helping in a professional capacity, like a hired planner, not as a guest. Her words hit like a slap. I'd opened my home, invested time and effort, and now she was excluding me from an event I'd helped create. I pointed out the absurdity. She hadn't hinted at this during planning, and I'd naturally assumed I was invited. She apologized for the misunderstanding, but doubled down, saying she didn't want to argue with a pregnant woman and that I should leave to avoid stressing her. Furious, I stormed to the backyard, unsure where else to go. I tried calling my husband, but he was tied up with work. In my frustration, I did something impulsive. I called Carrie's husband, Jim, a quiet man I barely knew. I vented about how humiliated I felt, apologizing for involving him but hoping he could reason with her. Jim arrived within minutes, shocked by Carrie's behavior. He insisted I stay and attend, brushing off her objections with a stern look. She relented but glared at me throughout the event. I stayed, keeping my composure, but decided I was done with her after that day. After the shower, Jim apologized again, but Carrie wouldn't even look at me. When I told my husband, he was livid and wanted to confront her, but I asked him to hold off to avoid more conflict. The next morning, my in-laws called, furious. They said Carrie and Jim had a heated argument after the shower, and Jim had moved out, blocking Carrie's family, including them, on social media. They blamed me, arguing I shouldn't have involved Jim and should have sucked it up and left, as Carrie asked. They claimed my actions might leave her child without a father. I snapped back, refusing to take the blame. Carrie had humiliated me in my own home, showing no gratitude for my hospitality. I pointed out she wouldn't have dared this if my husband had been present. I stood by my decision to tell Jim, who I saw as the only reasonable person in the situation. If he chose to leave, that was his call, and I supported it. I told my in-laws I wouldn't apologize or mediate, and I hung up. They've since bombarded me with messages, but I'm considering blocking them. A week later, Jim announced on social media that he'd filed for divorce. I reached out, feeling guilty but needing answers. He assured me I wasn't to blame, revealing Carrie's true motive. She'd excluded me to impress a friend's wealthy husband, pretending our house was hers to secure a business investment. Her friend didn't attend, but the lie unraveled. Jim said Carrie's obsession with appearances, living beyond their means to impress others, had plagued their marriage. She'd changed after their wedding, chasing a false image of luxury to compensate for insecurities about her modest lifestyle. Carrie, a marketing professional, and Jim, a real estate agent, were financially stable, but not wealthy. Jim had tried to curb her reckless spending, especially with a baby on the way, but she prioritized impressing superficial friends. This wasn't her first deception, and the baby shower incident was the final straw. I don't regret telling Jim. He deserved to know about her manipulative behavior. My in-laws guilt-tripping, claiming her child's future is at stake, feels like a stretch. My husband supports me and plans to confront his parents about their misplaced blame. I'm done with the drama and want peace in my home. Carrie's actions, like my brother's fiance's prank, revealed a pattern of manipulation and entitlement. Both incidents tested my loyalty to my husband and my boundaries, leading to strained family ties. I'm considering no contact with both couples, prioritizing my well-being and my marriage over toxic relationships. These two incidents, though separate, share a common thread. Family members crossing boundaries and expecting me to absorb the fallout. My brother's fiancée endangered herself and my husband with a reckless prank, then played the victim with false accusations. Carrie humiliated me in my own home, prioritizing her image over our relationship. In both cases, I stood my ground, supported by my husband and, to varying degrees, others who saw the truth. The online community's feedback on the prank incident helped me feel validated. Many pointed out the danger of ambush pranks, noting they can create threatening situations with unpredictable outcomes. Some shared stories of similar incidents ending in injury or worse, reinforcing that my husband's reaction was instinctive and reasonable. The Tesla footage was a game changer, proving his restraint and exposing my brother's attempt to cover for his fiancée. It forced accountability, though it didn't fully mend our relationship. Carrie's deception hit harder because it was so personal. Opening my home, only to be excluded for her gain, felt like a betrayal. Jim's decision to leave her wasn't my fault, but I can't help feeling a pang of guilt for sparking their argument. Still, his revelation about her ongoing lies, pretending to be someone she's not, confirmed I'd dodged a toxic relationship. My in-laws' refusal to hold her accountable mirrors, my brother's blind loyalty to his fiancée, showing a pattern of enabling bad behavior. Both experiences taught me the importance of boundaries. I've learned to trust my instincts and prioritize my husband's and my peace over family expectations. We attended my brother's wedding out of obligation, but we've since gone no contact with his wife. With Carrie, I'm done entirely. No more hosting, no more chances. My husband and I are focusing on our life together, free from those who disrespect our boundaries. I hope sharing these stories highlights the dangers of reckless pranks and manipulative behavior. Pranks like my brother's fiancées can escalate quickly, risking physical and emotional harm. Deceptions like Carrie's erode trust, turning family events into battlegrounds. No prank or lie is worth the cost of safety or relationships. I'm moving forward, guarding my home and heart against those who don't value them.